Legendary.
I risk it all just to reach these heights. I can never let them dim these lights. I grind sunrise through street lights. Ain't a speck of fear in these eyes. You couldn't take a step in these mics. Never slipping, cause every single day another star is born. Lord had mercy, then Rashad was born. Code name Yoda, all around scorer. Originator of the snapback crossover. Sports talk show 2319. Putting the unseen in that ultralight beam. Analytic like a mathematician. Mad prediction of players, draft positions. If you can't tune in, set the DVR. He set with Skip, Hurd, and Chris Broussard. The focus is hoops, known and unnotables too. Welcome to the hottest show without further ado.
Why am I flipping this coin? It's March Madness. There's so many great games that you're going to have to do this to actually call the winner. That's what it's going to take. But I'm here. Welcome to Sports Talk 2319. I am your host, Rashad Phillips, and it's March Madness. Let's get down to it and break down these brackets. Let's go! I'm going to break all four of these regions down for you at home so we can get to our brackets. I got all of my paperwork here. So let's do this as fast and as diligent as we can. Let's start with the East region. Obviously, Duke gets the #1 seed over there. But the games that I like is that 8 and 9 seed. You got UCF taking on VCU. VCU is a feisty unit. They have a kid by the name of Isaac Van. He's tremendous. He's around 6'6", 6'5". He's a great wing. He can score it. He has some NBA qualities about him. UCF is a great half-court defensive team. Obviously, they got the big fella down low, Big Taco, that alters tons of shots, but they get great offense from BJ Taylor and Dawkins. So I'm going to go with UCF on the win with that one. I'm going to note that one. But look, listen, guys, the game everybody's talking about is Murray State and Marquette, a 12 versus 5. This is NBA point guard play at its finest. You're not going to see greater point guard play between these outside of these two teams with Marcus Howard and Ja Morant. I'm going to ride with Murray State here. Morant, I've been with you since day one, and you're going to take us to the Sweet 16. But I really love Marcus Howard. He's a tremendous player, Big East Player of the Year. He has an NBA future. He can score the ball, but I believe Murray State does it. Tevin Brown can knock down shots, and Morant is just too much. The game that I saw, I got my brackets here. The game that I saw on this that really stood out to me was Florida and Nevada. Like, Nevada's a 7 seed, Florida's a 10. Nevada kind of limped in. They had a couple bad stretches towards the end of the year. I love that unit. I love what they're doing. They have a thin bench, and I think if Florida can dig deeper into Nevada's bench, then they could come out with the win. You're probably going to call me a homer, but I'm going to go with Mike White and the Gators, that 10 seed winning that 7 over there. Let's stay in the West region. I know there's a ton of people that have the #1 seed, which is Gonzaga, going to the national title, maybe winning it. But let me tell you, I have my upset alert on for Gonzaga. Don't be mad at me, Zags, but you have to play Syracuse if Syracuse can get past Baylor. And I believe that will be Gonzaga's toughest task, playing the Syracuse Orangemen. I believe Syracuse will beat Gonzaga, and let me tell you why. You can study that zone all you want on film. You can try to prepare for it, but it's totally different when you're facing it in person. And at this time of year, the Syracuse Orangemen, they have something about them, how they can shock teams, and I think they shocked the Zags. The toughest game in the Western region will be Buffalo when they face Texas Tech. I like both of these units. If they both can get past their first games, I just think that's going to be probably the toughest game of all of the brackets that I'm looking at here. Two great teams, two great coaches. They're going to fight it out. I believe Texas Tech survives that. Michigan plays Montana. Michigan, be careful with that team. They can shoot the ball. But this West region, I think this is my favorite bracket to watch. So let's pay attention to this one closely. Now, if we look over at the South region, the #1 seed is Virginia, and rightfully so, one of the best, if not the best defensive team in the country. But there are some games on the South side that I want to talk about, and that's Purdue versus Old Dominion, a 3 seed versus a 14 seed. So let me tell you, I believe that Old Dominion will beat Purdue, and here's why. Old Dominion kind of roughs teams up. They play ugly, they muck it up a little bit, and they force you to shoot jump shots. And when you look at the Purdue Boilermakers, everything goes through Carson Edwards. He's either hot or he's cold. I think Old Dominion wins, and they make Carson Edwards slow down. The 8 and 9 seed, you have Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. It's always hard to call these games. Like I said before, it's like a toss-up here. I'm gonna go with Ole Miss. I think they're more battle-tested. In my opinion, the SEC was the toughest conference in the country this year. A lot of people would say the ACC, but Ole Miss has some tough battles throughout the season. They have a guy named Terrence Davis Jr. who's flat out terrific, and I think Ole Miss will edge out Oklahoma. Kansas State and UC Irvine. Now this is a coin toss right here. Two really good teams. I'm going to stick with Kansas State, and I believe Kansas State will meet Virginia down the line. But UC Irvine is fantastic, and this can go either way. But I just like Kansas State. I love their run last season. I think they'll build on that momentum. So I'm gonna go Kansas State here. Now we go to the Midwestern side of the bracket, and what I see here, the #1 seed is North Carolina, rightfully so. Fantastic team that played well all season. But let me dig into some other teams before we talk about that. Another 8 versus 9 seed, Utah State versus Washington. Now Washington didn't get a lot of credit throughout the year. The Pac-12 didn't receive a lot of attention throughout the year. I like Utah State. They have a kid by the name of Sam Merrill, who's one of the top 3-point shooters in all of America. I talked about him back in October, and they have a shot blocker with the freshman kid. So I think Utah State pulls this one out, and Sam Merrill has a big game. But listen, Washington has a terrific defense, and they're going to give them a fight, but I'm going to stick to Utah State on this one. I'm so excited to see this one. The Houston Cougars take on Georgia State. Look, a 3 seed versus a 14 seed, but I really love Corey Davis Jr. He's one of the best shooters in all of America. Houston has had some big wins on the road. I think they're battle tested. I love Georgia State. DeMarcus Simons is one of the best players in all of America. He has NBA potential, but I believe Houston will outlast Georgia State in a close one. You have Wofford, who's a 7 seed, and Seton Hall, a 10 seed out of the Big East. But let's start with Wofford. They have Fletcher McGee, who's the best 3-point shooter that college basketball has ever seen. And he only needs 3 3-pointers to become all-time ever in college basketball history. He'll do that in the first half against Seton Hall. But when you look at Seton Hall, this team is terrific. The kid, Miles, is big time. He's one of the best scorers in all of America. He has NBA potential, and he loves the big stage. If Wofford can't slow him down, it's going to be a long night. But I'm going to go with Wofford here because this team has won 20-plus games in a row. They haven't lost since December. They run terrific half-court sets, and I believe that Seton Hall will have trouble trying to keep up with Fletcher McGee and Hoover and Jackson. I believe the team to watch in the Midwestern side of the bracket is the Auburn Tigers. I believe they will beat New Mexico State. I believe they will beat Kansas, and they will take on North Carolina, where it's going to be a toss-up. But have your clocks set to watch the Auburn Tigers. They're fun, they're rejuvenated, and their coach is a motivator. I know you're tired of hearing all of my single game. You want to know what is my Final Four, and I'm about to give them to you right now. Drum roll, please. Kentucky, Duke, Tennessee, and Texas Tech. That's my Final Four right there. Let's break it down real quick. Kentucky's toughest games will be against Houston and North Carolina. Tennessee's toughest games will be against Cincinnati and Villanova. Duke's toughest games will be against UCF and Mississippi State. And Texas Tech toughest games will be against Buffalo and Florida. Those are my Final Four. You want to talk about the national championship? You can reach me on Twitter, RP3Natural. Until then, talk soon.
I risk it all just to reach these heights. I can never let them dim these lights. I grind sunrise through street lights. Ain't a speck of fear in these eyes. You couldn't take a step in these mics. Never slipping, cause every single day another star is born. Lord had mercy, then Rashad was born. Code name Yoda, all around scorer. Originator of the snapback crossover. Sports talk show 2319. Putting the unseen in that ultralight beam. Analytic like a mathematician. Mad prediction of players, draft positions. If you can't tune in, set the DVR. He set with Skip, Hurd, and Chris Broussard. The focus is hoops, known and unnotables too. Welcome to the hottest show without further ado. Shot. They said the odds, I defied it though. I'm undeniable. I put in work. Can't let the weakness define me though. Soon as I find it though, I put in work. I level up cause I'm grinding though. This can't be guarded cause I put in work. Whose stock is falling and rising though? If you just gotta know, come get this work.